Hi class! So for math today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So I know it has been probably about a week or two since we started our topic 2 in math, and then we also had a very long weekend, and then we just finished up our last lesson of our topic 2. So today I just want us to do some review together. So for the next couple of days we are going to be doing some practice and some review over our topic 2. And then on Friday, we'll go ahead and take our end of topic 2 assessment. So just for a couple of days, we are just going to be reviewing and practicing. So to start us off, I want us to complete a fluency activity practice together. So this is in your workbooks, and it is on page 93 in your workbook. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, down here, on the right side it says 93, so go to page 93 in your workbook, and when you're there and ready to get started, then we'll go ahead and get started. So if you need to pause the video to go ahead and get your workbook out, please go ahead and do so, but if you're ready and on page 93, let's get started. Okay, so as Mrs. Collier said, we are going to be doing a fluency practice activity. Let me get my pen. Okay, so this activity is called Find and Match. So it says find a partner. I'm going to cross this out because I know that we don't all have partners, so we're just going to do it together as a class. So it says point to a clue, read the clue, look below the clues to find a match. Write the clue letter in the box next to the match. Find a match for every clue. So what we're going to do, these are called the clues up here. So all of these are the clues. Below in the box, we need to find which letter, so which clue, is going to match the equation, and we are going to put that letter in the box. And I forgot to say it at the beginning, but our learning intention today is I can add and subtract within 10. So this is what we have done before. This is just some fluency practice, so it's just some review. So for example, I'm going to show you how we would do this. So I'm going to look at this first problem here down by the box. So this problem down here, I have 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2. So when I'm looking at the clues up here, I need to find a clue that would match the equation 3 plus 2. So I want you to think about in our lessons when we talked about add-ins. So add-ins are the two numbers that make up an addition problem. So for example, 3 is an add-in and 2 is an add-in. So when we were talking about add-ins, we talked about how you can flip add-ins. And if I were to make this 2 plus 3, so all I did was flip my add-ins around and change the spots that they were in, this is still the same problem. My add-ins are just changed. So when I'm looking at my clues up here, I can be looking for either the same equation where the add-ins are changed, or I can look for a clue that has the same total. But let me see if this add-ins trick will work. So if I have 3 plus 2, I'm going to look for 2 plus 3. Do you see any clues up here that say 2 plus 3? Do any of these clues say 2 plus 3? Letter choice D says 2 plus 3. So I'm going to write the letter D in the blank. So this is a match. 3 plus 2 and 2 plus 3 are the same equation. They are a match. Our add-ins are just changed around. Okay, let's look at this one. If we have 2 plus 8, 2 plus 8, we need to find the matching clue. Oh, also, when you take away one, so we use letter choice D, go ahead and cross it out because we are only going to use a letter choice one time, and you don't want to forget and get confused on which ones you've used. So if I have 2 plus 8, so I could use this add-ins trick and say, okay, well, if I were to change my add-ins around, it would be 8 plus 2. Or I could say, what is 2 plus 8? 2 plus 8 is equal to 10. So when I'm looking for my clues up here, I can either be looking for the add-in equation, or I can be looking for a problem that is equal to 10. So I like to use the add-ins trick first. I like to see if I can find the same equation just where the add-ins are flipped and see if that would be a match, because I know that those equations are the same. The add-ins are just in different places. So let's look for 8 plus 2. Let's look for 8 plus 2. Do you see 8 plus 2 anywhere? Let's see. A, 3 plus 1. I see one. What about choice B? Choice B says 8 plus 2. So B is our match. All right. Let's look at our next one. If I have 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1. If I'm going to use the add-ins trick, I can say 1 plus 2. And let's look for that equation up here. See if we can find the clues. So we have 3 plus 1, no. 4 plus 3, no. Let's look at E. E says 1 plus 2. We're looking for 1 plus 2. Awesome. So we are going to put the letter choice E here. Whoops. There we go. So, boys and girls, we are just finding the match for each equation. Let's look at 4 plus 5. I want you to try this one on your own really quick. So if you were doing the add-ins trick that we're using, where you just flip the add-ins, so if we made 2 plus 1, 1 plus 2, what would this one be? If we have 4 plus 5, what would it look like if we were to change where the add-ins are at? It would say 5 plus 4. Where in our clues do we see 5 plus 4? Let's look. 5 plus 4, 5 plus 4. H, choice H says 5 plus 4. That is what we are looking for. We're going to write H in the blank. All right, halfway through. Let's look at 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4. If I were to change these add-ins around, so remember these add-ins are just these two numbers that make up an addition problem. So if it's 3 plus 4, if I were to flip those around just like we did these ones, it would say 4 plus 3. So let's look at our clues. Let's see if we see 4 plus 3. 4 plus 3. Do we see it? Choice C. Choice C says 4 plus 3. So we're going to write the letter C in the blank. Okay, now these ones look a little bit different. We have a subtraction problem. This is 4 minus 2. So with subtraction, you are not able to flip the add-ins around and use that trick here. So what we could do, we could say, okay, what is 4 minus 2? 4 minus 2. So if I have 4 and I take 2 away, that would give me 2. So I'm going to look at the clues that I have left, and I'm going to see if any of these are also equal to 2. Let's look at 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. So that's not it. What about 5 minus 3? If I have 5 and I take away 3. So if I have 5 fingers up and I put 1, 2, 3 of them down, I have 2 left. 5 minus 3 equals 2, and 4 minus 2 also equals 2. That is a match. Now, like I said, this one's different. The equation doesn't look the same. Because it's subtraction, we are not able to flip the add-ins around and look for that clue. This time we had to use what the total would be if we were to do the equation. Let's look at our next one. If I have 1 plus 3, 1 plus 3. Well, this is an addition problem, so we can flip the add-ins for this one. 1 plus 3 can also say 3 plus 1. Which of these clues, A or G, shows 3 plus 1? A or G? A. Letter A. So we have one clue left and one problem left, but we want to make sure it totals out and it works. This is subtraction again, so we cannot use the add-ins trick that we have been using. We have to say, what is 8 minus 0? Well, if you remember, 0 means there are none there. So if we have 8 and we take away none, we would still have 8. Let's look at the answer choice here for G. If I have 9 and I take away 1, what is 1 less than 9? 8. So if 9 minus 1 is 8, and 8 minus 0 is 8, then we have a match. I am going to write the letter choice G, and then we are all done with that fluency practice. Let's move on to our next activity. For the next part of our review, we are working on the next page of our workbook, page 94. I circled the page 94 on the bottom, but if you have your workbook still open, then it is just the next page over, and it says Topic 2, Vocabulary Review. So, the purpose of this review is so that we can go over our vocabulary that we use when learning math. If you look up at the top here, we have a word list. Let's see what the words are. Our first on the words list is doubles fact. Our next word is fewer. Our next is more. Then near doubles fact. And number line. So knowing these words and how they are used is going to help us solve our problems for our vocabulary review. So let's look at number 1. Number 1 says understand vocabulary. Number 1 says circle the addition equation that is shown on the number line. So boys and girls, if you remember, this is called a number line. A number line. So that is one of our words on the word list. So a number line begins at 0 and ends at whatever number is at the very end. So in this case, it goes 0 to 10. But some number lines stretch very, very far and have very high numbers. So if you look at our number line, where we have our first dot is sitting right where the number 2 is. We then see it jumps. Each time it jumps, it lands on one number, jumps and jumps and jumps until we see our other dot that is sitting here. So we went from 2 and we jumped to 3, 4, 5, to 6. So it wants us to circle the addition equation that is shown on the number line. Well, we know we started with the number 2. We started with 2, and then we added a number to get to 6. So how many times did we jump in order to get to 6? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we started at 2, we added or went up 4 places to get to 6. Our equation would look like 2 plus 4 equals 6. which one should we circle? Which of these addition equations shows 2 plus 4 plus 6? This one here. This equation says 2, where we started, plus 4, how many places we jumped, equals 6, which is where we ended in our number line. Awesome job. Now let's look at number 2. Number 2 says, cross out the problems that do not show doubles facts. So this is very important. This is where we get kind of tricky sometimes. It says that do not show doubles facts. So doubles facts was also on our word list up at the top. If you remember in our lessons from topic 2, a doubles fact is when you have an equation that has the same numbers. For example, 1 plus 1, 3 plus 3, or 5 plus 5. Those are all examples of doubles facts. So in number 2, it wants us to cross out the problems that do not show doubles facts. So let's look at our problems. I have 3 plus 7. Is 3 plus 7 a doubles fact? No. If it were a doubles fact, it would need to say 3 plus 3 or 7 plus 7. But this is not a doubles fact, and it told us to cross out the problems that do not show doubles facts. So I am just going to put a line through this equation. Let's look at the next addition fact. It says 2 plus 2. Is 2 plus 2 a doubles fact? 2 plus 2 is a doubles fact. Both of these numbers are the number 2. This makes it a double. In our last equation, 1 plus 2. Is 1 plus 2 a doubles fact? 1 plus 2 is not a doubles fact. For it to be a doubles fact, it would need to say 1 plus 1 or 2 plus 2. This is not a doubles fact. Not a doubles fact. So far we should have circled our equation in number 1 and completed number 2. So let's move to number 3. Number 3 says circle the near doubles fact. Now we're working with near doubles. This is also one of the words that was on our word list. Now, a near doubles fact is a fact that is close to a doubles fact. Now remember, a doubles fact is like what we saw in number 2, how we have 2 plus 2. Also the examples of 4 plus 4, 6 plus 6. It is the same number that is being added together. So which of these problems would be the closest to a doubles fact? So what we would call a near doubles fact. Which of these problems? 4 plus 5, 2 plus 7, or 3 plus 6? Which of these equations would be the near doubles fact, meaning it would be the closest to a doubles fact? We have 4 plus 5, 2 plus 7, and 3 plus 6. The fact for this problem would have to be 4 plus 5. A near doubles fact would be a fact that is as close to a doubles fact as possible. So if we look at 4 plus 5, 4 is 1 less than the number 5, and 5 is 1 more than the number 4. The difference between these numbers is 1. The doubles fact for this problem, if it were a doubles fact, would either be 4 plus 4 or 5 plus 5, which would only have to add 1 more. When we look at the problem, 2 plus 7, we would have to add 5 to the number 2 to make it 7 plus 7, or we would have to take away 5 from 7 to make this 2 plus 2. So that would take us more work to add and subtract those numbers than it would for us to just add or take away one of these numbers. The same for 3 plus 6. If we wanted to make 3 plus 6 a doubles, we would have to either add 3 to make this doubles fact 6 plus 6, or we would have to subtract 3 from 6 to make the doubles fact 3 plus 3. So the closest fact for us would be 4 plus 5, because again, we would just have to add a 1 to the 4 to make it 5 plus 5, or take away 1 from 5 to make it 4 plus 4. So our closest near doubles fact would be 4 plus 5. Number 4 says circle the word that completes the sentence. Sam has 6 pens. So I'm going to underline 6. Bev has 4 pens. Underline 4. Bev has 2 blank pens than Sam. So let's read over some of these words. We have the word more, red, and fewer. So the words more and fewer are also in our doubles fact, are also in our word list of all the words we have been going over. So we are going to find the word that would best fit in the blank. So if Sam has 6 pens and Bev has 4 pens, our sentence says Bev has 2 blank pens than Sam. So does Bev have 2 more pens than Sam? Does Bev have 2 red pens than Sam? Or does Bev have 2 fewer pens than Sam? If Sam has 6 and Bev has 4, Bev has 2 more or 2 fewer? So does she have more pens than Sam, or does she have fewer, which also means less pens than Sam? So if Sam has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Bev has 1, 2, 3, 4, does Bev have more or less pens than Sam? Does Bev have more or fewer pens than Sam? Bev has 2 fewer pens than Sam. Sam has 6 and she has 4. So she has 2 fewer or less than Sam. Number 5 says use vocabulary in writing. So that would be words that we learned in the words list. It says write and solve a story problem. Use at least one term from the word list. So the word list we learned up here. So doubles fact, fewer, more, near doubles fact, and number line. Okay, boys and girls, so for number 5, Mrs. Collier went ahead and wrote her story problem that it wouldn't take so long for you guys waiting for me to write it, because you know that I have to write with my computer mouse, so it takes me a little bit longer. But I said 2 plus 2 is a doubles fact. 3 plus 4 is a near doubles fact. So I used at least one term from the word list. In fact, I used 2. I used doubles fact and near doubles fact. So boys and girls, if you want, and you can absolutely write your own story problem, but I know sometimes we need some help with spelling, So if you want, you can use Mrs. Collier's sentence, but make your own equations. So you can copy the is a doubles fact and is a near doubles fact, but I want you to put in your own doubles fact and your own near doubles fact if you choose to use this story problem. Now, if you want to write your own story problem, you absolutely can. But if you would like to use mine, you can just use different numbers, okay? All right, well, that is all we are going to be doing for the review today. And if you want, because I know this lesson was not as long as our math usually is, so you can go on to Savez and play the bug jumping game that is on there. Or if you want, you can go on Imagine Math and be practicing and playing some games on there. Or you can also have free time. But that is what we will be doing for review today, and we'll be doing some more review tomorrow.